Manchester clubs and surprisingly Arsenal move on to 2021 while Chelsea and Liverpool roll back a few years. Hello and welcome to All Balls, a show that keeps you up to date with all the Premier League action and fantasy football tips. It's a new year, but I have Vishal Dadlani with me again. Sorry, that's an old joke. But Carl, Happy New Year. How was your New Year?
Happy New Year as well. It was a great New Year. I had a really quiet one though. Didn't really go out. Didn't have much of the festivities because I was a bit under the weather. Nothing to be alarmed about. But I'm here now and yeah, it felt good.
My New Year had 7 points.
Your New Year had 7 points.
Yours had 9.
Pretty much, yeah.
We had a good start.
They had 2. Huh?
Liverpool fans had 2.
Liverpool fans had 2, but there's lots to discuss today because especially with regards to Man United and all our clubs and Liverpool as well. But yeah, New Year, so, Manchester clubs are on the up, and the other side of the north at least, Liverpool,
the Merseyside clubs are going down. First one being Everton
and London is just being London, because if you just look, West Ham and Arsenal doing pretty well. Crystal Palace also doing pretty well, starting off their years pretty well. So yeah, while other London
on
clubs
Arsenal
are
doing pretty well. But we'll get to that. But West Ham, let's start with West Ham.
Let's start off with West Ham.
Soucek, 5th goal of the season.
He's their top scorer, I think, this season. So
he just pops up in the box. He just and with his foot for a change.
Well, he's one of those fox in the box kind of midfielders, and he's that guy who's got that extra lung who just goes into that final 10 minutes of the half. He just pushes forward. It was a pretty scrappy goal, as in it took a deflection and he was just right place, right time, poked it in.
But credit for Cresswell to taking the shot on, and
absolutely.
for Soucek, right place, right time.
Yeah, but it's a little bit of a worry for Ancelotti because it wasn't even Fabianski in the goal. It was their second choice goal. I forgot his name, Kirkland or something his name was, yeah. He had a pretty decent game as well.
I mean, a clean sheet versus Everton.
Yeah, considering the firepower and the form people like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and all are in, you would expect a lot more.
But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, worry. Few games now without a goal.
No, I think there's quality in him. Yeah, everybody goes to a little bit of a hump.
But has he been found out? I mean...
No, I don't think so. They say, right, form is temporary, class is permanent and stuff like that. He's right now just going through a bad patch of form. A lot of players are going through a bad patch of form.
Saying that about Harry Kane after so many years, but
even for a young player like Calvert-Lewin as well, he's still finding his way through. He's scoring at a pretty decent level for a person who was obscure the last couple of seasons.
And are they missing James?
I don't think so. They're missing. I think Sigurdsson's doing a pretty decent job. Not that James would add that extra dimension to their team. But Sigurdsson's doing a pretty decent job as well. He's a proven Premier League talent as well. He's been here a couple of seasons, so he knows the ways.
But while I don't say this often about David Moyes or Jose Mourinho sides,
yeah,
but they deserved it. It was the Declan Rice show in the middle.
Yeah,
it was a controlled win. They had it under control. It never seemed like West Ham would ever lose that game.
No, it didn't look like that. It really didn't look like. And it looked more like, but still, West Ham did look more like the more hungrier team from Everton. Everton just probably thought, we're going to West Ham, points in the bag, not going to be that hard. I think they were a bit overconfident, a little cocky when it came to them. And they paid the price, unfortunately. They just kept their eyes off once, right towards the end. And Soucek, again, that guy is just popping out of nowhere.
I hate him, man. He's torturing me in fantasy teams.
He's torturing people in fantasies, but he's scoring for the team. Especially when the team that's missing a guy like Mikel Antonio, who's the
But he came on. He didn't have a bad half.
He had a decent half. But again, if he's there, that makes West Ham a far bigger threat. And I think people have to start giving a little bit more respect to Moyes. I know Man United fans wouldn't really give that. But I think if Moyes can just galvanize his team and probably bring a far bigger harmony into the squad, they can go places. So yeah. OGS's boys keep marching into the new year with another win over a very, very stubborn Aston Villa.
I'm too high up on the table.
But a 2-1 victory. Bruno once again, your main man. What do you have to say?
I think more than Bruno, it was the Bailly show.
Yeah.
It was Eric Bailly, who's had 2 consistent games. We were speaking of this off camera, which is good.
Yeah.
He's never had 2 continuous games where, you can say he's the standout performer.
Yeah.
But he's done that. United have grinded out a win against a very good side. Aston Villa is no more.
Yeah.
They've drawn against Chelsea, they've beaten Liverpool, they've beaten Arsenal. So they're not a small side anymore. But again, the worry is only one, that we are being carried by none other than
Bruno Fernandes.
I mean, last 16 appearances, he has 11 assists, 7 goals. He has 33 direct involvements in his 30 Premier League games.
Yeah.
So what happens if he gets injured? Martial, okay, he's coming into the goals, 7 involvements in his last 6 games.
Yeah.
He's got his goals from open play now. He's looking confident. Rashford is looking better. Dan James is looking a different player probably after that one Leeds performance. He's keeping the ball more often.
Yeah, he's keeping the ball more often.
He's not losing it like an idiot like he usually does. But again, the worry is what happens if there's no Bruno? He'll have to rest him at some point.
I think this kind of United squad has a way of grinding out results.
No, but grinding out,
but I would also say whether with Bruno or not, it would be... I still think that there are players who are hungry enough to actually...
No, but what happened to those players during West Ham? We were down at halftime. We needed a Bruno Fernandes to come and change that game, turn it on its head technically.
True.
And it was done by him,
single-handedly.
What happens when he's not there? What happens to this momentum? We're on a 10-game unbeaten run. What happens to that?
Well, we were just discussing it again off camera, but maybe a little Dutch winger who's there could also offer some attacking impetus.
Who might pack his bags very soon if he's not played.
He might pack his bags very soon. But again, coming back to Martial as well, he is gaining form, and that's something very dangerous. And actually, that's something great which Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be very proud of. I think he's finally finding his feet. Maybe it's a new year, new me format or whatever that's going on with him. But I like the way his movement was during the whole game. And coming back to Bruno, he's going to be a very important factor. If something does happen to him, God forbid, it's going to be a big hole to fill in that Manchester United midfield. But can we also just, as you said earlier as well, an appreciation for Eric Bailly, the resurrection of new defenders. We're going to go talk about other defenders also who have come from obscurity and lifted up their teams. But do you think if Eric Bailly is fit, do you think there's no chance for good old blockhead to get in?
He just makes that defense look a little more calm. I'm not sure how calm he makes them feel, but at least while watching them, they look calm. With him and Wan-Bissaka at least. Like, I didn't find an opportunity apart from the goal, which is obvious, but to abuse Harry Maguire during the game. Which is because Eric Bailly was there to fill in those holes and cover. He's fast. He's using his brains for a change. But then again, if you see the goal we conceded was good night. They took a quick free kick. We were caught napping and it was in the back of the net. Lucky Pogba penalty. Again, VAR, this new trend they've started with the whole clear and obvious error. So it was first handball, first away from the body. Now it's become clear and obvious error.
True.
So while, some people are saying that he dived or, he hit his own foot against the other. No, he was pulled back by Douglas Lewis. Pundits on the show said it, so you guys can shut up. But it was a penalty. We took the goal. We got the win. But again, squad depth is good with Cavani, with Telles at left back. You have enough depth. But it cannot substitute for the fact that, if a Bruno is injured or if he's rested. I don't see a scenario where United will not need a Bruno. Which is worrying.
It all comes down to probably the United changing room where there has to be someone who has to take up the mantle. There has to be someone who's taking inspiration from a guy like Bruno. So, should God forbid that should happen to Bruno, something he gets injured or he's rested or something, I'm sure there will be someone in that United squad who'll have to pick up the mantle and say, okay, fine, today I'll be that Bruno role. Give me a shot.
But as of now, we have Bruno, we're top of the table, so shut up. Spurs versus Leeds. Did you watch Twilight? A better love story than Twilight. What is with them?
No, man, again, it's another deadly combination. We spoke about this a few episodes before. About
they are there, Bruno.
Yeah, but I was talking about York and Cole. Like, again, this is another devastating combination of Son and
13
Kane.
and 16.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean,
Kane has assisted Son 9 times. There are 11 players in a team. You remove 2, there are 9 players who go to sleep and 2 play.
And across all the elite clubs, at least, all the elite leagues in Europe, Kane has the highest numbers in terms of assists and goals.
I think double digits, first player to reach double digits in both, and to surpass Fabregas' record.
Yeah, that's another record as
Ex-Arsenal player. Must be giving them a different high, that we've beaten an Arsenal player's record.
You again come back to the point of you're talking about a guy like Bruno who goes out. Now, imagine you lose either Son or Kane because these guys complement each other.
Exactly.
If it's one guy on the pitch and the other's not there, then one of them's lost.
And we've all seen what Gareth Bale can do.
Yeah, well, I think Gareth Bale pretty much played his last game, I think, for
playing golf.
Spurs.
Still playing golf.
No, because I think there are rumours that apparently he and Mourinho had a bit of a tiff and...
Yeah, but his attitude's wrong. I don't blame Mourinho for this one.
Yeah, I don't blame Mourinho either, but...
You saw there was no energy, there was no intent when he came on.
Yeah, but you think a guy like Bale at this point when he's achieved so much and he's here, okay, he wants to play football, he is a professional footballer, but a guy who's making 500,000 a week, if he's going to just make that a week and just go on to golf courses, you see anyone else complaining? Besides, but he's also not going to complain.
500,000 a week here, that's probably how much the entire Leeds team gets.
Yeah.
And look at how they play. I mean, they were not bad. The scoreline does not depict how the game was.
Leeds is the gift that keeps on giving. Let's all appreciate Leeds
this way because very unlucky.
You don't know what team turns out every time they go and play. Like, I know we call them the man bun team because everybody's got their man buns in like half the squad. But you don't know whether they're going to lose 3-0 or they're going to win 5-2 or they're going to win 6-0. It just depends on Bielsa ball and how motivated the players are.
No, even at 6-2 when they lost to United, they had about 3 or 4. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if that game would have finished at 6-4 or 6-5 to be very honest. And even here, 3-0 is not a fair result to Leeds by the scoreline.
Yeah, because they had 64% possession.
Exactly. Spurs finished their chances. Leeds unfortunately couldn't. Is that a worry for Mourinho?
No, that's it.
That his defense is opening up so easily and Doherty is behaving like an idiot towards the end. That was a stupid red card.
Some people will say that Mourinho is the guy who parks the bus. And then when there are times where he wins games like this, even though
but he's parked the bus against most of the team. He has. Why he's done well. Why did United do well against Leeds? Because Leeds come at you. They leave that midfield open.
Yeah.
And you have a midfield and a Son and a Kane in Spurs who can exploit that.
Yeah.
What happens when teams don't come at you like Leeds do? What happens when teams are more disciplined? I'm not saying Leeds are not.
Yeah.
They just play a particular brand of football.
Yeah, they just play that fearless kind of football.
Exactly. They do the running kind of football. Exactly. They don't bother about, they say if you score 4, we'll score 5.
Yeah.
What happens when you come against a City or a Liverpool or a Chelsea or, United, which they have. But
then you got to change your tactics.
Exactly. Which is when he goes back to the park the bus.
Yeah, true.
Which is why I feel he's not going to win anything this season.
The jury's still out on that. I would say, as much as being an Arsenal fan and I hate Spurs and things like that, with Mourinho has a really good track record of winning trophies.
I wish I had a red card I can give you.
No, but it's true. Whether it can be a small league cup, I wouldn't call it a small league cup because every cup is important. It doesn't matter. But whether he wins that or he even wins the FA Cup or maybe
he's not winning anything.
Even the Europa League or whatever competition they're in right now. There is a very high chance that Mourinho can win something with this team. But it will also boil down to the form of Kane and Son. Because you take one of those guys out of the equation, that's downhill for Tottenham. I honestly feel like, and if Tottenham fans will disagree, you can let us know in the comments. But I'll be honest.
There's no Twilight.
Yeah, let's see. But beyond that, I would really like to see what you guys have to say when it comes to seeing Kane and Son. If one of them is taken out of the equation, if one of them gets injured, would you feel safe with Tottenham progressing? 2-0 at Selhurst Park for Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace, and the winless streak for Sheffield United continues.
Pretty straightforward win, for Palace.
Yeah.
Against, 9 shots, 9 on target, 2 goals. Sheffield clearly bleeding, struggling.
How was that wonder goal though by Eze? That was a really nice run.
He's a talent.
He is a talent. He is a pretty good, he's
but
a good young player.
He's
proving his points as well.
It's against Sheffield. They're not high on confidence.
Yeah.
It's their worst run since 1902-03.
Well, it's actually that the last time that an English side went through such a winless streak was in 1902-1903. It's been more than 100 years.
I think they're the only club in 92 clubs in the division that are still to record a win. So that just says, a huge amount about how they come into games. How many times have you heard a stat saying, I've had 9 shots and I've gotten all 9 on target?
Yeah, true.
Which means there's not enough pressure, there's not enough intent. So Sheffield clearly struggling. Hopefully New Year they'll pick up from here.
What's missing? Because it's the same squad from last season. They had a fantastic last season. So what's missing? Is it harmony? Is it motivation? Is it confidence?
I just
or
felt
what?
there's not enough pace.
Yeah.
They're benching the players that used to start last season.
Okay.
Like your Lunchtrams, your Flex.
Yeah.
You know, they used to start. Sheffield had a system where they had the 3 at the back, they had your 2 wing backs. They've changed that around, probably with the few injuries and, you know, red cards in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
A huge difference is Henderson at the back.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ramsdale again. I have this
Yeah,
opinion of
true.
Ramsdale
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Nathan Ake that I can't judge a player if you picked him up from a side that just been relegated.
Fair enough.
So
yeah.
probably that's the difference. It's 17 games. Few teams are showing.
But they've got good forwards as well.
They've got
like,
good forwards, but they're not. They don't have enough pace. And quite honestly, McGoldrick seems like the only spark, and he's not a great shape.
Yeah, but a guy like Liz Mousset, who was
He's not consistent. He doesn't start.
No, but he
that
was a
often.
bright spark last season. He was like whenever he came on last season. That's what I'm saying. Is he missing motivation because a guy like him also
I mean,
kind of
yeah,
galvanizes
right? If
the
you've
team?
lost 15 games out of 17, if you've
Yeah.
got 2 points, then it's a difficult mountain to climb. I just feel the stronger teams are still going to run over them. It's
Yeah.
about just saving face this season, get their first win, and then there's no miracle that's turning this around. They're going down, that's for sure.
I hope not. I mean,
No,
I mean, the purist in me is hoping that
It's not.
There is some sort of resurrection for Sheffield because I do like that squad.
West
as well.
Brom, maybe, but Big Sam also seems frustrated. But
We'll get to that,
We'll
yeah,
get to
yeah.
that, but not for Sheffield. I think Sheffield's going down.
Well, Sheffield does have a very big mountain to climb. So, Chris Wilder, get back to the drawing board.
Brighton versus Portugal at the MX.
The Portugal B team.
3 all. But
Or the Porto B team, you can call it.
yeah,
also,
well,
like-
it's just Portugal. We'll
Yeah.
stick to Portugal.
Okay.
But 3 all, great comeback, Brighton.
Yeah, goal fest. I like these kind of games. I enjoy these kind of
It
games
was,
when you have,
it
when
was a
especially going 3-1
physical
up.
battle, you
Yeah.
know, with Saiss at one end, with Brighton fielding, 4 centre backs
As their defense.
in their defense line
Yeah.
and playing Ben White in midfield.
True.
Which was probably a mistake for the Dan Burn goal because again he was
The own
not
goal,
getting
right?
enough.
But yeah,
he was
yeah.
not getting enough support. Traore was taking him to the cleaners.
Yeah.
And again, which is why I feel that Jimenez is being missed because Fabio Silva cannot deal with physicality. He's young, agreed.
He's young, yeah.
But he can't. He just can't keep the ball. Players like Neto versus physicality cannot keep the ball.
It's startling to think because a free-flowing team like Wolves, when you come to think that their third highest scorer this season is coming from a defender like Saez, that shows that there's not a lot of impotence coming from the rest of the team, like, especially the attacking players.
And they're missing someone like a Dendoncker.
Oh yeah,
in such
they're missing
games.
a guy like Dendoncker. I think it's that vacuum left by Jimenez. I mean, thank God he's doing well and he's recovered and stuff. But you need someone now that the window's open. Wolves has to go in and get
Costa?
someone. He's available. I mean, he's on free.
He's like one of our previous guests, Azim said. He's one of those sands that you need in the box.
Yeah, he's a bull in a china shop, and he's a guy who gets under your skin. Not only like
he'll
as a
irritate
physical
you.
player, but he psychologically goes under
He
your
irritates
skin.
me when I watch him also. I get irritated.
No, I
when
mean, there
look
are
at
times
him.
where even I've seen when Diego Costa played for Chelsea, I think even I got banned once on Twitter because I actually abused his mother. Because I realized how annoying he was. No, really, I was shut off from Twitter for 1 week. I'm not going to say what I said about his mother, but I was so frustrated with him because I knew how badly he was getting under the skin of the Arsenal
Do
defense.
not say it. All the aspiring singers on Indian
Yeah,
Idol will
yeah,
stop
yeah.
following you.
No, but again, he's a good option though because you need a little bit of
Because he
steal,
holds
a
the
little bit of
ball
guile.
up for players like Traore, Neto,
Yeah.
Podence, when he's in
And
form.
he'll get along. Again, it's a Portugal B team and he speaks Portuguese as well. Like, I mean, he's whatever, Brazilian, Spanish as you want to call it, but he does have knowledge of it. So he can blend into a team like this.
But good. I mean, Brighton, credit to them. They went 1-0 up, then they went 3-1 down.
Yeah.
And they came back from there. Dunk with, of course, deflected header.
They could have won it also.
I think they got a penalty in the first 12 or 13 seconds of the second half.
Yeah.
Which the crybaby put away. But then he realized, Graham Potter realized, he took Ben White, he put him at left back.
Yeah.
Because again, he's the fastest of those 4 centre backs.
True.
So to hold Traore. And I think they controlled the game pretty much after that. They had a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Yes, they had a few
Otawasi.
chances.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a neutral goal fest, good watch.
Great fun. I was very thoroughly entertained by it, but there's still a lot of questions to be answered for teams like Wolves because you expect a lot more from them considering the quality of football that they play. As for Brighton, Graham Potter, he always knows how to bring this team up.
I mean, he's happy with a point after being 3-1
oh yeah, he's
down,
one of those
but
guys who are those teams are very content with the
probably
point.
too early to say, but they might just stay up.
Yeah, oh yeah, they'll stay up. I think Brighton has the goods to stay up.
Third straight win for the Arsenal.
Woohoo!
How does it feel to have 9 points at a stretch?
It feels great, and the team's in form. I was very proud of the whole performance.
I'll give you
by
the
everyone.
Chelsea win. While I'm not taking away from the Brighton and the West Brom win that we'll just talk about.
Yeah.
But the Chelsea win was character.
Yeah.
You know, it was good football and you took the game to the opposition,
Of course,
like
yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been different if it was a Sheffield or a Fulham or a West Brom. But you started with Chelsea, which probably gave you that momentum. Lacazette coming on against Brighton. But this one was, I don't know if it's the right word, but total football.
This was the second goal.
The second
especially,
goal
yeah.
was the Arsenal of old, you know.
It felt like Wenger ball. I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but it did feel like Wenger ball.
It was
and
good exchange of play. It was good runs off the ball.
Yeah.
And it was very nice to watch.
True. And a lot of credit has to go to people like Bukayo Saka, who I think had an
He's
excellent
bigger
game.
for you than Aubameyang at the moment.
At this moment, yeah. I mean, Aubameyang still has to find his shooting boots. I don't know what's going on in his head right now. But the goals are coming and I'm not complaining. Another very unsung hero in this whole game was, I think, Emil Smith-Rowe. I was a huge fan of his movement throughout the whole game. That assist as well for Saka's goal. He started it.
He started the move.
Yeah, so you could just see that the hunger in these young players that they have now, play them. I was telling you earlier as well, I think I was telling Scott as well, that even if we have to lose a few games on the trot, at least if these guys try, they put in that effort instead of looking like headless chickens running around, I'd be happy.
It's more
Put in the
fresh
effort.
minds than fresh legs, honestly.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
with the Willians and stuff, you know, they've been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You've not heard of a Smith-Rowe before. He comes in.
True.
You know, you've suddenly seen a different side of Kieran Tierney, which you've probably seen the left foot.
Yeah.
You've not seen that right foot. While there was a joke that it was a cross in the camp.
No, I think
he went for
he
goal.
went
It was
for
pretty
goal. He
obvious that he
definitely
went for goal.
yeah.
But just the fact that at such a young age, that boy is showing that he can be a leader.
Oh yeah.
He's played at different positions.
I've tipped him as future captain for Arsenal because he's passionate as well. You've also seen in some other games like his how do you say, his ferociousness.
Yeah,
the game against Leeds
He
where
picks
Pepe,
out players who makes mistakes and lets them know that they've made a
True,
mistake.
and not only that, he will also back his own players. He will fight for his own players. The game against Leeds where Pepe got sent off, he went to fight off with Alioski because he felt that Alioski kind of framed Pepe in that whole red card debacle. So he's a guy who shows a lot of leadership qualities, passionate. And right now, he's the best defender in the Premier League in terms of chances created, like 50
You've had
chances. And
2 clean sheets back to back.
Pretty
Pablo
much.
Mari to be given enough credit for
Oh,
that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Very calm, you know, composed at the back.
Yeah.
But again, do you see a Gabriel coming back into this lineup?
Absolutely.
With 2 left-footed centre backs?
I think
Because
so.
Holding's not doing too badly.
I think right now, with what's going on with the current form of this team, let's just play with the same squad. Let's just keep this
Which
harmony
is exactly
going.
what
Yeah.
Arteta said, you know,
Yeah.
with the crunch fixtures and everything. But something's working to build on that.
Yeah.
To build on the young players, give them more opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because Smith-Rowe, to be very honest, has done more in 2 games and Pepe's probably done the entire season.
True, yeah.
And except for that first game for Willian where he had 3 assists, there's nothing to show for.
He's disappeared, and I wouldn't be surprised if if I was the Arsenal owner, I would probably just like show him the door. I mean, go somewhere else.
And you
if
still
can.
have a Thomas Partey coming back from injury, probably, hopefully soon.
Yeah, but I think
But
we
that
should
also-
buy our time as an Arsenal fan. I think we should buy our time on that because again, we don't want him, you know, going back and probably pulling something again. Even though he says he's 100% fit, but we have a winning formula right now. And
But show me that smile, no? You've gone from relegation battle to 3 points of the top 6.
I mean, we're 3 points off title challengers Chelsea. I mean, and they were calling us relegation battlers before. So that just shows again the drive and the motivation that these
And to
young
beat
players
Big
have.
Sam, I mean, take West Brom is obviously, you know, in a bad
Ah.
space. But Big Sam had a comment that said that, you know, of course Arsenal are in a relegation battle.
Yeah, but that's funny for Sam to say. But I feel sorry actually for a guy like Big Sam because he, as I said before also in the past, he's a miracle worker. He's a guy who has kept teams up.
I still feel he will.
It is an uphill task. And had this had to be reversed, maybe if it was West Brom winning 4-0 and Arsenal losing, you would still want to blame the players. Again, in the end, it's these 11 guys on the pitch. And if Big Sam can do only so much to motivate them on the training fields and maybe in the back room or in the coaching rooms and stuff like that, but in the end, they have to put that on the pitch. And there's no one right now in West Brom with an aging defense line as well.
I think except for Gallagher, they had nobody.
Gallagher's the only bright spark, but that one man alone, he's not okay. He's good.
He can't do it alone.
He can't do it alone.
He can't. I mean, there's not much he can do alone. Honestly, he was the only one running around, and I said this before. They need to keep him fit if they need to stay up.
Absolutely.
But then again, they also, apart from keeping him fit, he needs to have some support.
Yeah, and I missed that kind of West Brom that earlier in the season, I think they blitzed Chelsea. You remember that was that first game where they gave Chelsea a scare, 3-0 up, and then Chelsea had to come back. Where's that West Brom? I mean, there are good players, there are quality players, there are players who can play well together. But it's just, I think it's just confidence is just dwindled completely in this team.
So ending this segment, I have just one question. What are you laughing for?
I know he's asking something about Arsenal or Big Sam.
No. Do you still want Mesut Ozil back?
Yeah, why not? If it's an option and if the club hierarchy has kind of said, okay, we'll sweep it under the rug, we won't discuss whatever that was discussed earlier. If Arteta gets the option, why not? I'm sure Arteta's dying to actually play him. It's a decision that's not in Arteta's hand with playing Ozil. It's more of a more controversial decision. So if the opportunity comes, fine, take him in the squad. If not, ship him out. I mean, I'll miss him. I love Mesut Ozil as well. I think he's one of the best playmakers of our generation. But if he's not going to play, a quality of him not going to play, move on.
I mean, I'll miss him too. No more jokes to make on him then. James Maddison masterclass at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Vardy not scoring but involved.
Yeah.
But the biggest story of the biggest man.
Lord Andy Carroll.
We have Andy Carroll.
Arise.
Okay, so I read this and I have to read this out. Between Andy Carroll's 2 goals, Donald Trump has tweeted 56,307 times. Newcastle have been relegated and promoted. And iPhone has launched 10 new phones. And you've probably grown your hair and cut it off again. But he's in the goals. Didn't matter though.
Didn't matter though, because again, you now have a great side like Leicester, who I still pip them for the top 4 for sure this season. And it's nice to see now, again, Tielemans also getting onto the score sheet as well, because that's a really good quality midfield.
Good goals, good quality finishes.
And you also have to give a lot of credit, even though they did concede a goal, Wilfred Ndidi was that midfield pivot right there, who kind of kept the engine going. Like, he gave that freedom to people like Maddison and Tielemans to move forward and stuff.
I just feel with Soyuncu being fit and on the bench, now Leicester has options. Now they have depth.
Oh yeah.
You know, they have Fofana and Evans who are not doing a bad job.
True, yeah.
They now have NDD playing his natural position. Yeah. He doesn't have to play at centre half, you know, because of the injuries.
True.
Even if you have a Fofana or an Evans who gets injured, you have a Soyuncu who can come on.
Yeah.
And so you have NDD playing, and then you have his backup on the bench as well.
And
so the squad's looking good.
You also have a pretty decent set of wing backs like Castagna and Justin.
And you have Pereira who's back pretty soon.
Who's going to be back pretty soon. And that guy's pretty dangerous. I like him a lot.
I mean, for Castagna, you have a Luke Thomas, you have a Christian Fuchs as well.
Yeah.
You know, experienced. So there's good depth in this squad.
Absolutely.
To finish in that top 4.
Yeah.
And they just completely outplayed Newcastle in probably those first 45-60 minutes of the game.
And anyone who's ever said that like a team like Leicester depends on a guy like Jamie Vardy can clearly eat humble pie, because now you can see there's
Maddison. He's got 6 goal involvements in the Premier League this season. That's him and Vardy. There's 2.
That's his best start, I think. His best career start, I think,
this season as well. There's Tielemans chipping in. Yeah. There's Harvey Barnes, who scored a few important goals to get them points against United, against Palace.
Yeah.
There's Cengiz Under, who comes in and creates an impact whenever he's fit and on the bench. So they have a good squad depth, and they have a good chance of, you know, getting probably top 4, top 6. And Rodgers is, of course.
I've earmarked Leicester for top 3. I think they can definitely make it in the top 3. If with their quality, as you said, you just mentioned the amount of players and the quality that they have and the backup that they have. I would say they have the best probability
with this form, you think Steve Bruce going to make goal 4?
I wish not, but then again, it's Newcastle who's just they're hot and cold. They had a fantastic game against Liverpool, where again Akal saved them in the goal, but again, it's just sad that a guy like Andy Carroll has to come back after 10 years to score a goal for them. But they need firepower. I still feel Joel Linton is someone who's good, but he's just probably being out of play.
I think I know what they're missing. And again, I'm going to end this segment with that one favorite question of mine. Who is Newcastle missing?
I think Newcastle... No, not Santiago.
No, why not?
We are not going back to goal.
Bro, a left foot curler, 93rd minute or so.
No. At this point, if they had to make a new goal movie, which I hate Like, firstly, if they had to make a new goal, by now Santiago Muniz would have been a coach. Right? He would have been a manager.
No, but Baby Muniz.
Baby Muniz or whatever his little brother, his little bastard
Why aren't
brother
you let me do
second
Muniz?
part or something like that. Like, no, why?
No, why? Muniz.
No, I still think though Newcastle as a club, there are good players again, but they're just not having enough firepower. They need to get these people together again. Callum Wilson, he was I think their top scorer I think this season. Was he
50% of
the goals have come from him.
No, he was fit, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so
He didn't have a supporting Muniz behind.
and you have people like Almiron and you have people like Joel Linton who will hold the ball. He's another good holder.
There's no midfield.
There's no midfield. No, the Longstaff brothers are decent, but
How?
They're still.
You're playing an Isaac Hayden and a Longstaff versus a Tielemans, NDD and a Madison. I mean,
Of course, they're worlds apart in terms of quality. Of course, they're worlds apart. But remember, these are young, raw talents who are coming from a grassroots level of football, like Longstaff and stuff like that. While you have people like Tielemans who are coming from proven leagues as well. So it'll take time. If Steve Bruce can find the right kind of motivation for the Longstaff brothers, at least, there is something good there. Because when they first burst out, they were fantastic. So I think now it's just a matter of consistency. Newcastle will survive this season. I honestly feel
they'll survive.
Yeah,
but
they'll survive
bottom
this
half.
season. But I'm sure when they review their season, I mean, we're not even at the halfway point, but when they review their season, they'll definitely clearly point out that we are lacking in goals. We're lacking in goals and we're lacking in creativity, and we need someone to fill that gap. So, yeah.
title pretenders versus title contenders.
Yeah.
Outplayed.
Completely.
Outplayed, outpaced, outmuscled, outclassed.
Yeah.
Lampard had no answer. He still doesn't have an answer. He's 1 win in 6.
Yeah.
He's had 4 defeats. His side had nothing to show in the first half at least. Second half was probably a 50-50, but City had won the game by then.
They had won the game by then. I think City just dropped a few gears down and they were just chilling after that because they knew they had a 3-goal lead. So.
City played something very weird. I mean, they were playing a false 9 with De Bruyne in the middle. And what is with this City side? That whoever they bench and whoever they bring on will score, will perform. They used to play Mahrez was performing. They're playing Foden's performing. There's no Fernandinho. Gundogan is playing in the holding role. He's scoring.
No, it's a quality side. But you have a quality side when you have Mahrez and Aguero coming off the bench. Even though you have players already
and you don't even have Jesus in your squad.
Yeah, that can still devastate any side. Whether it's a Chelsea or whether it's a West Brom, they can still devastate any side. And Pep Guardiola is now slowly getting the engine oiled.
You think he shocked Lampard with his formation or with his team selection?
No, I think it was just, again, I think it's just a better team came out of that first half. They wanted it more. There is quality in the Chelsea team, but I have to say, a guy like Kante had a very horrible game.
You can't blame him. He's running around alone. He's bound to have a couple of bad games.
But that second goal, any normal midfielder, and I'll put this out to those who are watching, those who play football and stuff, when you're coming out from a set piece, from a corner, and you get the ball down the center, your first thought, I would say at least, you give it to the sides. You don't put it down the center. You put it down the center when you have people like Ruben Diaz and John Stones coming in.
But I don't understand why Chelsea was crowding the box at 2-0 in the first half. I mean, you have time to recover that game.
I think that also comes down to the want and desire of people.
This is very much like United at Istanbul in that first leg, where Demba Ba had a free run at goal in the 11th or the 12th minute in the game where there was no defender.
True.
And it's the same thing that happened to Chelsea. Why have you crowded the box? And why is Kante your last man in the 30th odd minute of the game when you're only 2-0 down? And I say only 2-0 down because this season Chelsea has seen 3-0s being turned and they have turned 3-0s themselves.
Yeah.
Versus Southampton, they were 3-0 up versus Southampton, they let it slip. 3-all. They were 3-0 down versus West Brom, they came back. So no one better than them knows that this can be turned around. So why crowd the box and create a scenario for yourself where you're countered like that? Again, Sterling should have finished. He's an idiot. But again, hit the post, De Bruyne on the follow-up. Chelsea still didn't wake up. So that just shows probably they're just bummed by the fact that they're not really getting it together.
No, we got to give appreciation to a guy like, sorry to cut you off, but you have to give appreciation to a guy like Kevin De Bruyne. As you said, the false 9, he's a guy who just hovers everywhere. He's there to fill in those small little holes in the box. So even Raheem Sterling missed, he hit the post and then it came back as a rebound. And then Kevin De Bruyne comes and covers it. they are a good quality side. Let's not be saying.
Absolutely.
And we were also talking about it off camera. Like, should anything happen to Kevin De Bruyne, you know that there's quality in this side.
He's not their Bruno.
He's not their Bruno. He's not their. Who's the other midfielder we were talking about? I forgot.
He's not their Kane or Son for that matter as well.
Son for that matter.
They can manage without him.
Like Phil Foden, he started 6 games and he's already got 3 assists and 2 goals. And he's basically someone who's like a squad player. He's rotated. Even though he's so good, he's probably one of the best English prospects you have right now. And to see that, and that's what I'm saying. And imagine the 85th minute, you're 3 goals up, and you're like, okay, fine, let's shut this game up. But no, we'll throw in Aguero and Mahrez.
Exactly. What is that depth? Aguero, Mahrez. You have Laporte on the bench. You have Benjamin Mendy on the bench. You have Kyle Walker and Jesus and Ederson, who are not even in the squad.
The least said about Mendy, for all his off-field shenanigans.
While you're getting happy with the thought of it, let's not get there. But
let's not get there. That's a different discussion altogether.
That's a squad that
when we're discussing
should be lifting this title pretty easily.
They should be.
Considering they have games in hand and they're only, a point off the potential top depending on the wins. And
you're talking about Chelsea, No, you're talking about City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Chelsea, I think, like I said, pretenders. They were in the race and then boom.
Well, again, all Chelsea fans, I'm sure after this game, a lot of so-called Chelsea fans were shouting on their telephone screens half the time. But Lampard again now has to fix this. He has to fix this. He spent 200 million over the summer to buy players. There are good quality players.
One of who sits on the bench, the most expensive of the lot.
But what was frustrating me the most was also a guy like Werner, who's supposed to be a natural goal scorer, not showing any drive over.
Up. It's
like when you're 3 goals down, you want to run at everything. Whether you get a small nick or you get an assist or something to keep the ball in the box, you do that. But Werner just didn't care. He just didn't care.
I'm just thinking how many games he can go with the same excuse saying that I am not used to playing against big defenders. We used it in the first game.
No, you can give him
the benefit of the doubt.
No, I think
17 games.
No, I think you can give him the excuse for the fact that it's his first time playing the English game.
Yeah, but it's 17 games. You do something different, right?
Do something different.
And it's not that big physical defenders are pushing him off the ball. He's missing sitters.
He is missing sitters. There was that one where I think he went to shoot and he actually cleared it in one of the games. Yeah. The other sad thing is that you have someone who does really good in hold-up play. That is Oliver Giroud, who is, I think, right now their top scorer.
Yeah, Tammy and Giroud were their goal scorers who were benched.
So, and if you think, I don't know what Lampard was thinking. Maybe he said, okay, fine, you guys made this mess. You all have to clean it up. I'm not bringing anyone in. So go ahead.
He should have gone home, not after.
Yeah, and then he just confined them completely. And again, with Hudson-Odoi getting the goal so late on, that was the kind of drive and run someone needed. Like you could see Hudson-Odoi was hungry for it, and he went in for the goal. That is what Werner should have done on his point as well, but he was not showing any interest.
But why score and take my Cancelo's points away?
That couldn't be bothered about, guy. I had Cancelo on my team, and I couldn't even figure it out.
Shut it out. No, 3-0. Give me the 6 points.
But it's an uphill task. I mean, again, people as you call them, pretenders to the title. Chelsea also now, they were laughing at us as Arsenal fans that, oh yeah, we're in a relegation battle, but now we're 3 points behind you guys. So, and we beat you guys. And I know there's still a long way for this whole season to go and this whole league to go, but I honestly feel like Chelsea, if they don't pick themselves up from here and they don't find some sort of form, they're going to probably go a little bit lower, and then we can start talking about a so-called relegation battle. So, yeah.
Okay then. Champions beaten at St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Before anything, that reaction at the end of the game.
You could see how much it meant.
You could just see how much it meant to the guy.
Ralph HASENHUTTL, I think it was that white whale, like the story of Moby Dick, like where he's just searching for that white whale. He always wanted to beat Klopp. He couldn't do it in the Bundesliga. He struggled over here as well with Southampton. Imagine being a manager of a team that gets battered 9-0 and then you move your way forward, you try and galvanize the squad, and then you go on to beat the champions. I think that's a mark of a really good manager.
And you beat this Liverpool side. Though they're not in form.
They're not in form. And they missed, the defense is incomplete.
But they're still a formidable side.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think people like Mane, Salah and Firmino have to look within themselves to say, like, we have the firepower, but why are we not getting through?
But now you have to go outside those three, because since Diogo Jota has been injured, their chances created have gone down by 40%.
True.
So that just shows that either the Premier League's found out how to contain a Salah. I don't think there is a way to contain Mane, because I just think Mane is a little more innovative in his approach when defenders get tied to him.
Yeah.
Salah, I don't think so. Salah's kind of a one-trick pony, if I have to put it that way. I don't think it'll be fair to say that, but he's on the lines of that.
No, I
don't
disagree
know.
with you because I think Salah and Mane.
But where has Salah been then? Mane still got his chances. Mane
Yeah,
had penalty claims. Salah had
Yeah,
nothing.
but Mane also was in Kyle Walker-Peters' pocket throughout most of the match. And if you see, again, Mane is a very pacey guy.
But he drifted out. I mean,
he did drift out. But a guy, an inexperienced young player like Kyle Walker-Peters is coming across someone like Mane, and you would clearly know that there would be mistakes made. And there were mistakes made. Not that it wasn't. Walker-Peters is only human. But again, he's for a young guy to take on someone like the quality of Mane, I think he did fantastically well. And credit to also Vestergaard and to Bednarek in the centre as well. They kept a good shift. They made sure they held the line. For a guy like Foster, who's probably playing his first competitive game, he's literally getting dusty off the cobwebs from his gloves. Although he did look a bit shaky, he was just punching around, shafting out balls and stuff like that. He did decently.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Coming back to that, of course, Bednarek, yes, Vestergaard. There was Jack Stevens. Vestergaard was injured. Jack Stevens playing his game after a while. It took Liverpool 74 minutes to get their first shot on target, which was a tame effort by Mane, which Foster just gobbled up. It
standard goalkeeping
just says a lot about. There were two things in that game. One was the finish from Danny Ings, which was. There was no other, like Michael Owen said, there was no other place.
We've been discussing this and I still felt that he went to cross it. I don't know.
But whatever it is, whether he went to cross, it's the same with Saka, right?
Saka,
he came out and said, I saw keeper off the line.
Go
look yourself in a mirror, bro. But again, Danny Ings.
Waiting for a Man United player to do something like that. Then we'll see.
We clean goals.
Okay. Anyway, coming back to that,
So, no, I'm just saying that there was that finish and then there was Liverpool who second half had 80% of the ball at one point, 90% of the ball at one point. But could not do anything. There was no end result. So there was a fact which was, spoken of after the game. Now this was probably the smallest side Liverpool has fielded in a very long time. But a side that has played in the most amount of crosses under Jurgen Klopp in a Premier League game.
Well, it's like in biblical terms, the Pontius Pilate. He's obsessed with crosses, but there's no one getting into it, But it's
English.
sad. Sorry, okay, not those watching will understand. But the thing is that you also have a guy who kind of hit really poor form in this game was Trent Alexander-Arnold. He gave away the ball 38 times. 38 times. For a guy of his quality, you would expect at least something better. I'm pretty sure he's going to get better the next game because he knows he's going to get criticized for this game.
Kepa playing at right back.
Pretty much, but I'm pretty sure he's definitely going to improve after this because he knows, he's one guy who's very motivated and driven. But you got to give credit also to the Southampton. It was a resolute defensive.
Hard. They were throwing body shift on the line.
They put a really good defensive shift. And yes, Liverpool threw the kitchen sink at them. But they were getting these small little pockets, these small little moments. There was that one time where the ball went through when I think Alisson had a brain fart and he got out of the box.
Valerie almost put that
Already got it in. So these little tiny, but I think HASENHUTTL just kept saying, just keep edging away, just keep picking on them.
He said in his post-match that, at the 92nd minute or somewhere where I was convinced that probably we've got the 3 points. Which just shows that Liverpool can hit you at any point. But it just didn't seem like it was their day.
It just wasn't their day.
Probably a couple of penalty shouts, and it could have gone either way. Again, clear and obvious. But apart from that, I mean...
And again, I give a lot of credit to a team like Southampton because they missed someone like Che Adams.
They did have Aurel Romeo, who has the most amount of tackles this season.
This season as well, But they missed more guile. And you have a guy like Shane Long who's coming in after a very long time. He came in as a substitute. But he did his business. He did the job that was asked of him to do. He tried to support Danny Ings and... Who was a young fella? Vela or something.
Nathan
Tella, who had a really good chance as well when he came on for
Just didn't curl in time.
It just didn't curl in time. So I like the fact that they were like, okay, fine, look, we have to sort of park the bus. We have to be a little bit more defensively efficient. But when we get our moments, let's make the most of our moments. Let's try and make the break and give them something to sweat on. And sadly, even the defensive problems that Liverpool was going through, I think it was a bit of cockiness. I think you were talking about.
I was just coming to that. Was it cockiness or was it just over tactical?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Klopp to play Henderson over there because it was not needed. You had Phillips on the bench who's not been performing too badly. He's kept a clean sheet against Newcastle. Your strikers have not scored. You've got a point, which is fine. But you have a defender on the bench who's kept a clean sheet in his last game. Why are you meddling with that? To probably the only reason is to contain that high press. Or to break the high press which Southampton initially had. But then again, their best player, Thiago, gave the ball away. and gave away the free kick, and
As
that
you
was
said,
it.
but
Henderson played him onside.
Yeah, but as I said, whether it was cockiness or it was a tactical issue, it was a mix of both, I think. And it kind of confounded Liverpool even worse.
So Liverpool still on for the title?
Yeah, easily. I mean, now the title's wide open. I think anyone, this is going to be musical chairs now for the rest of the league. So, yeah, you guys as well. Man, everybody has a shot. The table just keeps moving up and down. So,
Not everybody.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, we'll talk about
I
that.
have to!
I like the cockiness, but yeah, at some point when you come to the position that we were in, then we can have that discussion as well. But
we're not coming
we'll see how that goes. But in all honesty, this has just blown the league wide open. We're not even, I think we're almost close to the halfway point. We're 2 game weeks away from the halfway point. And we still don't know who's a clear favourite. But for me, I could honestly say it's still Liverpool and City who can get into a 2-horse race. Maybe Leicester coming third, considering the quality that they have. Fourth, I would say it's up for debate. It can be Man United, it can be Chelsea, it can be anyone. But I honestly think that right now it'll come down to City and Liverpool.
I would like to end this segment by saying 11th place position side is saying that we will come fourth when we are in pole position for the title.
Well,
Cut!
I hope, but I hope. No, he's talking stuff like this right now. But when we do the whole season in review, then we'll have a lot more to discuss about. Don't worry.
So, Carl, that brings us to the end of another episode. We've spoken enough about the top of the table.
Yeah.
You know, in the top half. Let's speak about the half in which your team is. But the little lower section of it.
Yeah.
Sheffield surely going out while you don't want them to.
Yeah.
But according to you, who are the other 2 teams?
I would honestly say it's right now it's Fulham and West Brom. Fulham and West Brom probably dropping because West Brom just purely down to form. Fulham, I don't know whether it's a COVID thing or what. They've also got games in hand. I don't know whether their squad is depleted, but they're just going to struggle even more than that. So for me, I think it's Sheffield, West Brom and Fulham.
And any other managers you think being sacked this season?
It's tough to say because it can be a high profile guy. It can be even, some of these smaller middle table teams as well. But no, really, it's too early to count because we're still 2 weeks away from the halfway point. So, although I do think Chris Wilder's a guy who's going to weather the storm for Sheffield and try and get them out of this mess, even though they're a very, very big mess. He can be a candidate, but I'm sure the board also really likes him as well. He's bought them from, 4th division? All the way to the Premier League. So, of course, they're going to keep them for a while. So, it'll be tough, but I think if there's anyone who's sweating around the collar, I think it would probably be someone like Frank Lampard, who should be a little bit bothered.
Big one. Guys, do let us know also what you feel. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and stay tuned to another episode of All Balls. Stay safe.
Peace.